A molecule that's capable of donating more than one proton is what you would call a polyprotic acid. If it's capable of just donating one proton, how would you call it? If it's not poly, it's monoprotic acid. So if you have these kinds of molecules, then you can have several ionization can occur in several steps. So what you would call the Ka1 or the K1 or the Ka would be the KEQ for the transfer of the first proton to waters. Okay. Once you get the conjugate base, if that conjugate base can still transfer another proton, the Ka for that is also known as the Ka2 of the original acid. So Ka2 or K2 of H and X, and here is greater than 1, would be the KEQ for the transfer of the second proton. For example, H3PO4. Okay? If I were to transfer one proton from H3PO4 to water, gives you H3O plus plus. What's left behind if I remove a proton from H3PO4? H2PO4, and its charge is now going to be -1, right? So the KEQ for this reaction is called the Ka1 or the Ka of H3PO4. Now, if I were to go further, if I let my H2PO4 minus transfer another proton to another water molecule, that gives me H3O plus plus, what's left behind now? What's the conjugate base of H2PO4 minus? One less hydrogen, one less charge, right? So HPO4, instead of -1, -2. So this is the KEQ for this is Ka of H3PO4. The Ka for this is the Ka2 of H3PO4. Okay? In other words, what we're saying is the Ka2 or K2 of H3PO4 is the same thing as the Ka of H2PO4 -1. Okay? If you look at this, if you just look at this, you'll say, oh, that's the Ka of H2PO4 minus. This is the Ka of the proton donor. But this, you can imagine this is having come from H3PO4, so you can say that's the second step in the ionization of H3PO4. So that's the Ka2 or the K2 of H3PO4. All right. So Ka of HSO4 minus is also known as the Ka2 of what? Is it A, H2SO4, B, H3SO4, or C, SO4 -2? This is the second step for, oh, how quickly you forget. Let's do it. Let's go over this again. Ka2 of what? What's Ka of HSO4 minus? Ka means it's donating a proton to water, right? So I can abbreviate that using this. I can just say HSO4 minus gives you H plus sulfate. This is step 2. What was step 1? Step 1 forms this, right? HSO4 minus plus H plus coming from what? H2SO4. So it's the Ka2 or the K2 of H2SO4. So the Ka of HSO4 minus is the Ka2 or the K2 of H2SO4. So the answer is A. All right, let's try this one. For which of the following is the K equilibrium constant called the K2 or Ka2 of H2CO3? Is it A, B, C, D, or E? Let's take a look at this. You say this is what? That's K1, right? Or Ka1. That's the first step. K2 means after you've taken out one hydrogen, so this must be your reactant, right? But Ka or Ka2 means reacting with water, so it can't be this. It has to be reacting with water, transferring a proton to water. Okay? So which one is it, B or C? Let's see what you pick. C. Very good.